Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Chow on the East-West with G&E TV. Once again, it's our weekly update. Only because last week there are so many things happening, we had to insert another periodical update before this, and now this is our regular weekly update on a Friday. With me also, my good friend Ken Hemming, a philosopher, a trustworthy friend to the community, especially to the EDI G&E show.
Yes.
He's been here for many years already, right? Have you lost track about how many shows you have done with me?
No, this will be number 195, and I look forward to celebration when we do 200.
200.
And I love it. This is a really important.
We'll do the celebration here or your house?
Well, anywhere you want, but
All
it's
right.
going to be celebrated.
There are 5 more.
Yeah.
5 more, right?
Right.
Excluding today.
Well, and my birthday's this month. I want it to be right around my birthday.
On the 20th.
Mine's the 23rd.
If I remember,
yeah,
right?
the
23rd.
But anywhere around there will be hallelujah.
Right. I can advance my happy birthday wish to you.
Thank you.
All right, good. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay.
Love to be here.
For today's weekly update, relatively subject are in 2 categories, one internationally and the other domestically, right?
Yes, sir.
Internationally, we want to first pay attention to are 3 fellow Americans captured or detained in North Korea by the North Korean regime. President Donald Trump has swearingly made his point clear that I would bring them back with me. Right, good. So do you think that will happen, please?
Well, here's the thing, okay? Like the world as a whole, America as a whole, they go, okay, 3 people. But it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It is our people that have been detained over there for no really valid reason, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, and we cannot forget the gentleman that came back, that was released and died 3 days later, and had been tortured and, very much abused. Mm-hmm. So it is a big deal, okay? And I like, for example, when Iran had our hostages over there, we sent people in. It failed. But
we failed,
but that's okay. We tried.
We did our worth.
Right. And so it's maybe harder to do it in North Korea, but anyway, it is a big deal. And President Trump said he will not, really continue negotiating on denuclearization of the peninsula unless these 3 are released. And so it's pressure on North Korea.
The public concern is that, of course, this time, it is more likely that the North would release the 3 Americans. But
Yes.
the concern is that would the Americans be released the same condition like the previous one?
Well, that's a good question.
Who came home
know.
just to meet his death?
Right, that's right.
Only to meet his death.
All we can do is hope and pray that they'll be able to continue living a decent life back in their home country, America.
What if we do see those 3 released home, almost half-dead men? What do we want to do?
Well, there's not much I think we can do. We as long as we can get peace on the peninsula and denuclearize the Korean peninsula and have ability to inspect their tearing down their facilities, whatever. That's the best we can do. We can't then, do a raid or anything to punish them. At least we will have accomplished bringing them back, even if it's to be buried here, Jack.
I understand your wish, your positive wish, right? But the thing is that you never know. The guy has of no trust.
Right.
Has of no credit.
No humanity in his soul.
He lies all the time.
Yeah.
He does he
Truly
says
an evil fellow.
He says one thing, he does the other, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the problem.
It's a big one.
So with that into consideration, though, how big, how likely is the chance that he's playing games with us?
Well, here's what I think. I think he would love to play games with us. I think he successfully played games with Clinton, Bush, and Obama.
Yes.
And I think
and
our
he
president
played
now
games with the entire world.
That's right.
Yeah.
And our president now, I think President Trump is just simply smarter than that. And he's a business guy. He's a brilliant guy, and he's not going to let it happen. because he knows, and North Korea knows, if this doesn't work out in a positive way, then North Korea will pretty much cease to exist at some point. They're not going to be allowed.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. What if it did happen that way, right? We learned that he played the game with us in a big way, right? All he tried was to gain the time that they needed to upgrade themselves to full force, 100% of their nuclearization. And then what do we do?
Well,
the reason I'm asking is that a day ago, I was with my friend James Lee,
yes, like
consultant, presidential consultant,
right? I like
for George H.W. Bush 41 and W. Bush 43.
Right.
And he had his take, and which I will share with you later.
Yes.
But what is your take? What will happen?
Well, North Korea will be disallowed the ability to send missiles to America with nuclear warheads. They will be disallowed either through the negotiations that will be coming on very soon, because Trump said today that they've agreed on a location and a date, but it'll be announced soon, or they will lose their nuclear power through military force. It's going to one of those. They will
I know. But,
and we want a peaceful way.
At the end of the day, we find out that he played a game with us. What will we do? That was the question.
Well, he'll lose the game. If he plays with us and he's trying to get it.
What has he to suffer? What has he to face?
Our nuclear power. The fury of America and the power of America's military force.
So I'm talking about two options. Number one, we're talking about, because a while ago, like only a month and a half ago, we were talking about retaliation.
It would go back to that.
Talking about military attack.
Right.
We have our carriers there by the water.
And submarines.
We have airplanes, submarines. Everybody is ready
we got it all
to attack that evil land.
Right.
Right? Now,
right.
Are we still back on that same page? Or there's other way of talking, according to my friend, Mr. James Lee, that we will tighten the sanctions to a certain extent that he gets strangled.
Well, let me just say this. I don't know really what I'm talking about. Mr. Lee does. He's more experienced than I am.
Oh, he is.
But
yes.
but no matter how hard, if you just tighten sanctions, that would not disallow them from continuing to test to complete the ability to deliver nuclear warheads to America. So I think the time wasted by tightening sanctions will not be acceptable to America and President Trump.
That's more or less what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, me too.
Because number one, we're talking about we got to stand our American value. American value means, partially American value should mean that we mean what we said.
That's right.
We mean what we
say. Back up your mouth.
When we say it, we do it.
We mean
right?
it, yeah.
So and we did say that we will da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
You're right.
And then you and I, we even talk about even assassination or
all kinds of possibilities
stuff or
right.
kind of Terminator stuff, like kind of thing, right?
Right.
Okay, now, so if we find out that we have been cheated in a big way, games were played by him, and then so we want to do page one, go back to page one.
It will. It would go back to page one.
You agree with me?
I think the page two that Mr. Lee's talking about, he really is a beautifully experienced gentleman. You know, it takes time. I mean, we're running out of days. Now, I don't believe I believe they're doing whatever they think they can do right now. Well, they're saying they're doing nothing. But it's all, Jack, within a month, we're going to have a really good idea what's going on. And this is May 4th, and by early June, maybe this month, they'll be looking at each other.
So things big,
very exciting.
Things big of a grand by magnitude will happen, right?
Great magnitude.
Either way,
great importance.
I mean, either
maybe
way.
One of the major developments.
Either way, or we succeed. Either we succeed with the whole approach of North Korea, the whole peninsula, or we have to get into action.
That's right. I think that's because you can't just keep sanctioning forever, because all of a sudden they've got.
That's my concern, because we have been doing this. We have been slidingly doing this into it, and we're dragging into the big hole. Remember, you recall the Clinton time, right? The Obama time. It goes
Yes.
on and on, even including Bush time, right?
Yes, sir.
And this guy gets spoiled. The whole Kim family gets spoiled.
3 generations.
Right? They form a habit of lying.
Yes.
And on and on and on and on and on. So now there is no guarantee how come he will not lie this time.
I would expect he does.
Once we find out he does,
Yeah.
there must be something as consequences that he bears.
But I do think he's, as they say, he's coming to Jesus because he knows he will die if he doesn't capitulate in this situation.
Of course, he has to capitulate.
Yeah.
Just
And he could still have all his
just
power.
exactly
He could
like
still
the,
mistreat his people. He could do all kinds of evil
Just
things.
exactly like the big word saying these days, say, do it my way or hard
Or the
way.
highway. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right? Good. Okay, my dear friend, my lovely audiences, this is the weekly update with my friend Ken Hemming, commentator, and he is also a supporter to the show. I've
Yes.
been here for 195 shows already.
I love it.
And that's a lot of shows. I never thought I would have done that many shows already.
You should be sick of me by now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no, I'm not. Okay, so let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue meander on this. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow Americans. You're welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on the East West Show with G&E TV, with my friend Ken Hemming, a big brother who loves the community a lot, who donated his time and efforts to the community for its betterment. Right?
That's my life.
For that, we give you a big credit. We give you a big hand.
And I'm proud to be associated with you and your viewers, Jack. It's a highlight of my life.
That's why you earned your golden mic.
Which I just stick it in my ear when I go to sleep at night.
My
I'm
God.
so honored.
I love it. That's why you have a hole there.
Yeah, that's right.
Good. Anyway, I'm back on the issue, still North Korea issue. I still want to meander a little bit with that in that subject. Do you think there is a possibility? Okay, now back to the root.
Yes, sir.
The root being, if you're talking about Korea, you're talking about North and South.
Yes, sir.
Right? If you talk Koreans, you talk Northern Koreans and Southern Koreans. Right? They are all Koreans.
They are.
It is
They are.
easier for them to come together rather than having anybody come together with them. Do you think so?
Yeah, in what, the North and South Korea just used to be Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the Japanese ruled them for, 50 years or something. So then they became separate countries with their own freedom again, and the Korean Wars created 2 countries, one North, one South. And of course, the dream would be to reunify, but someone's got to have the power.
My point is that they have the same history,
Okay.
they have
They
the
do.
same culture, they speak the same language. Right?
They have the same, before the Japanese came in, they had the same country. I mean, they had everything the same.
All right, now, what if, I'm only thinking in the wild, right? What if they together play games with the United States?
Well, it'd be tragic. We have 28,500 of our U.S. soldiers over in South Korea. I just can't believe that the leader of South Korea would be foolish enough. He has nothing to gain. So much of South Korea's economic power is dependent upon the friendship and the cooperation with the United States. And North Korea has nothing to offer in a positive way to strengthen the economics and the security of South Korea. So I just believe that chances of that are very remote, and I could be wrong.
Very slim, right?
I think so.
Slim. But the reason I'm asking
That's a scary
was that
thought.
that very day when they shook hands at the border, at the border line, they jointly made a declaration.
Yes.
The declaration of North and South joined the declaration says about 90% of the content were talking about the North and the South reunification.
Right.
And there's
Right.
only little area, only probably 1.5 sentences talking about the denuclearization. Right. Now, the public concern is that the whole thing of North-South coming together was a move for the denuclearization.
That's right.
Which, however, in the declaration has only 10% of time.
But correct me if I'm wrong, that was on day one. On the second day, it got a greater focus on denuclearization.
Yes, the second day they said more. They said more about it.
And the North Korean fellow, said, he was, as long as America signed a non-aggression pact that we would not go in after they were denuclearized and attack them or something, which we have no interest in attacking them, as long as they don't have any ability to come and harm us. So that's good.
Okay. In other words, you think the chances of them playing games
together are
very slim?
Yes, I do.
Very slim, right?
Yes, pretty inconceivable.
Hopefully, we keep our fingers crossed for the best outcome, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, speaking of keeping fingers crossed, we always think about this, right? Now, the meeting realizes, right? So Trump and Kim did meet. Right? And the denuclearization was on schedule.
Yes.
Right? And the North and the South gets unified. Well, they kind of like come together.
Well, I do believe denuclearization will occur before any reunification.
All right. Okay.
I do.
All right. And then Trump says at the one time, about 3 days ago probably, he will think about withdraw the U.S. military presence. Do you think that will happen?
I do not actually think it will happen. We got, like I said, we got 28,000 people over there. Maybe it could
27 and 500.
Yeah, 28.5. And then maybe you could take a couple thousand out or something. But here's the thing: if you take your troops back home, you'll never get them back there. And we need to have our power in that zone, because we're near China, we're near Russia, and Japan, our ally, and Japan needs us to be there very much so too.
In other words, you're not talking about North and South Korea only. You're
correct.
talking about the region.
The region. Why we need to have a presence there.
So
I would be very sad, shocked if we withdrew more than 5,000.
Why would Trump have said so?
Well, I didn't hear what he said, so I can't really say.
He said,
I don't
not
believe.
exact quote, but literally he says that he will consider withdraw the American military presence.
But he wasn't talking about all of them. And also, the day after, whatever he said, he denied that that's what he meant.
Okay, very good. Okay,
we need our people there.
All right, good. All right, good. Probably we should, with a difference. I'm not saying that will happen or will not happen. You and I just are sharing our thoughts with our audiences. My dear audience, if you have anything to express, just write it to me. Say, tell my DJ. Send your email to tellmydj@gmail.com.
Yes.
Tell my DJ, one word. Tell my DJ. TLLYMY DJ for DJ @gmail.com.
Right.
Right. Good. So, and we will we'll look at your email. We will get back to you. All right. Okay. Yes. Speaking of North Korean nuclearization, the nuclear whole issue, though.
Yes, sir.
We can't prevent talking about Iran.
We can't.
Right?
Okay. They're all related. It's all interrelated.
Now, prior to the North Korea nuclear situation or issue becoming a day-to-day issue.
Yeah, right.
There was a talk to Iran.
Right.
Prior to Obama came to Iran to make the deal.
Yep.
Which is the so-called deal so far as we can see.
Yes, sir.
Because they never stop, right?
Right.
Then the world focus shifts to North Korea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, when North Korea is kind of like on its schedule, depends on where it goes.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time to move to another focus to Iran?
Well, the Iran deal that, You know, our country and them and a few other European countries, I think there were 6 countries that were involved in that. You know, after we signed the agreement, before the ink was dried, Khomeini over in Iran had all the people, you know, hundreds of thousands in the streets yelling death to America. So that sounds like an enemy situation, and they have an avowed purpose of destroying Israel from the face of the earth, and then their next hated enemy is America. So if you aid and abet the enemy, I mean, I think it was an act of treason to enter into that. And it also automatically, after 10 years, if they behaved properly, they could have nuclear weapons. We cannot let Iran ever have nuclear weapons, and Israel will not ever allow
And
it.
they are a few steps away from 100%.
Very close.
Very close, right?
Yeah.
In other words, so we got to do something.
And it's very possible too, according to all the people that seem to know what they're talking about, that, you know, there's cooperation between Iran and North Korea in the development of their nuclear.
All right.
You know, there's some, you know, they know each other and they maybe work together.
Of course, you always talk about things get going simultaneously. You can't say, hey, let's wait until Korean's issue is over and then we move back to Iran, right? The Iranian same issue. But we got to have them taken care of simultaneously.
I'll tell you, President Trump came in at a very hard time. All of these previous presidents in our country should have dealt with Iran in a forceful way and with North Korea 25 years ago. And we didn't. We were wrong the way we handled this.
Okay,
diplomacy doesn't work with Hitler. It doesn't work with Mussolini. It doesn't work with Hirohito. It doesn't work. Okay.
Sometimes when it has to be a bomb, it has to be a bomb.
Right.
No question asked.
And so President Trump now he's got to see on May 12th. I predict that he will pull out of this deal. The European people in there, they want us to stay in whatever, and I don't even know why, okay? But because they're not a target.
What in your mind would be Donald Trump's tactics to deal with the Iran issue?
I think he'll pull out of the agreement, and I think he'll then put the pressures up with sanctions more and more, just like he's done on North Korea. I think he'll handle it the same way he's sort of successfully, maybe successfully.
Would you think the international community would respond to our call to sanction Iran?
Some yes,
to further
some
sanction
no.
Iran.
Yeah. See, the United Nations, I think, is a waste of time. All right, and that makes me sad. The original purpose of it was great. I wish they weren't on our soil in America because Haley, our representative to the Nikki Haley to the United Nations, said, you know, it's our investment in the United Nations has been a failure. We don't get the votes that we need, and you know, we're not happy.
Plus, we're paying a lot.
Well, and I think we should just say, put it in another country, and we'll pay a proportionate share. I think we should stop funding it like we're doing.
Okay. Anyway, today, my dear friends, in the weekly update, we had several issues lined up, and let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we will pick some issues for domestic. Let's see what's going on at home. So stay with us. Hello, dear friend, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. You ladies and gentlemen, you are my fellow Americans. We all love the United States. We want things happen in favor to the United States.
Yes.
And in favor to us, to you, to me, to everybody. So, well, rather than, right? So, because we are the one working hard. We're the one working every day, in, day out, in the most diligent way, so that we deserve the best. However, sometimes you're talking about your work and your pay.
Yes.
Between your work and your pay, there is always a contradiction, right? For you want to work as less as possible, right? As little as possible, and then to your pay, you wish as much as possible, right? Now, there is a talk of these 1 hour, I mean, minimum hourly pay of $15 minimum.
Right.
So, and it's been viral. It's gone viral for the last 1 or 2, 3 days. So,
Yeah.
your take about it, please?
Well, one big thing going on right now is the restaurant business is a business of very thin margins. Margins being profits. And when all of a sudden you've got people that were making $6.75 or $8 or something being forced to pay them 15, you really are eroding so much of the profit, and restaurants are closing. In New York City, there's a lot of restaurants closing. There are not many reopening because it just doesn't pencil out to be profitable anymore, because you can't just keep rising prices. You know, I mean, we've all, you know, I go to places I go where I think I can afford it. I don't go to places where I don't think it's worth it compared to my economic situation. So what they're trying to do, some of the restaurateurs back there, to try to have the state, the city, put a surcharge on, like say it's $40 for your meal for one person or something, and then maybe there's an $8 or something like that surcharge to help pay for this increased labor cost. They're just not. It's just, I have friends in the food business. I know how thin the margin is. You really need to run it in an efficient way, and you need a lot of volume. You only get a lot of volume when you get a lot of customers, and if they can't afford to be coming, you're going to have less customers. So it's a very tragic situation. And then this whole thing on I think the leadership in the Democratic Party were on the left, very socialistic, very anti-capitalist, okay? Hillary Clinton even said within the last 3 days that, well, maybe she lost votes because she was a capitalist and said she was a capitalist instead of a socialist. Now, that's an insane situation. This country, you know, is not a socialist. Yeah. Okay. But then now they're also talking about having a guaranteed job, government job for everybody that doesn't have a job. And I will say this too, right now there's fewer of those because our unemployment down to 3.9% now. Guaranteed job, $15 an hour plus benefits. Well, there's not enough work to do.
Okay, we'll talk about that a while later, right? Now, let's concentrate on the only thing of the 15-hour minimum wage, starting with the restaurant workers.
Right.
Okay, now, my point is that I myself, I'm not running a restaurant business. I don't know how they do it. But judging from one fact, that these days, if you go pay $9.99 for a serve of for a steak, for example, right? For the same amount of money back home, though, you can't make it, or barely.
I'm not sure. I understand your thoughts. I'm sure there's truth in there, but I can make good food at my house,
especially
efficiently.
Yeah, especially if you talk about Chinese food, though.
Okay.
You pay $5.99 for 3 choices as your variety, right?
Well, that's pretty cheap.
That's pretty cheap.
Right.
And for $5.99, I can't make it. I know I can't do it.
But let me, my thought is that the people that are working in the kitchen and buying the food there, if they had to pay them $15 an hour, it wouldn't be $5.99 for 3 pieces.
I know.
That's the point. Yeah.
It's going to be no longer the case.
Right. Correct.
But the first thing is that where does money come from? Do money grow on trees? Or planted like potatoes?
It comes from investors. It comes from people that open up their own restaurant with their own money. It comes from people that know people that run a restaurant in an efficient way, and they provide them funds to open a restaurant. It comes from investment.
Yeah. Now that
it doesn't come from the government.
Now that the diners pay $5.99 or $9.99 for a dinner.
Yes.
And the investor, the boss, how much he makes, and the intern, that is the money to pay off the employees. Am I right? So it goes like this. right?
Well,
Goes like that. Okay.
you know, the bottom line is your people that work there have to be paid. The food has to be paid for. The rent has to be paid for. All that. The last person to get any money is the owner. He's the last person. He gets what's left over. And if there's nothing left over, you know, it's also very hard.
It's going to be money out of the owner's pocket anyway.
But it's going to maybe make it into a losing situation. It's not worth the effort to have the restaurant. That's why they're closing, Jack.
And then there were the revenues.
That's why McDonald's is getting more.
The national revenue as income,
Yeah.
well, that would be hurt, right? Okay, now,
Yeah.
let me lay down my cards.
Yes, sir.
My card is that I shall have no problem if they make laws or if they call for say, double safety belt.
All right.
Right? For your safety, you have to wear two of safety belt. Right? Okay, now, the manufacturer makes it with the law, right? And you buy with double straps. That's the law. Okay, I don't argue. But the thing is that a dollar is a dollar.
Yes.
Right? If you want 101 pennies out of a dollar, you have to steal.
Right. From
The
someone
extra
else.
penny.
Right.
Right?
You're right.
So it is kind of like against the logic. Against the logic to do so. Do you think?
It is. It can't work because minimum wage, that's $30,000 a year if you work your 2,080 hours, okay? 30 right now, I think in America, the average income per family is about $55,000. And this gets you up 60% close to the average in America. And then if these people that are making less because the demand, you know, you get paid well if your demand is big, is large.
If this person is works for an 8-hour shift, right?
Right.
For 50, you're talking about
120 bucks.
120 bucks.
Yeah.
For a day.
Yeah. Times 5, then you're making 600 and something a week,
and then
you're making
times
3,000
4,
a month, and you're making
24 to 2,500 a month.
Right, which comes up to 30,000 a year.
Okay, now, and a couple, if they both work in the same restaurant or the same business, so
they can double
they
that.
have 50.
Right.
They have 5,000.
Yeah.
5,000.
Right.
5,000 would make 60,000
a year.
Yeah. Which is
about the average.
Which is reasonable.
Yeah, we used to be able to get by with just one.
That is the one
person
side
working.
of the coin. There's only one side of the coin that secures that every family, or the majority of the family, at least a couple with a kid, gets $60,000 annual, right? Okay, now my question is still the same question. Where does the extra money come from?
Well, what's going to happen is there won't be the jobs available. The two people won't be able to both have jobs because the restaurants will be closing.
Yeah. And without a job, you don't get paid.
You get nothing.
You get nothing.
Right.
Something is better than nothing, and nothing is nothing.
That's right.
Right?
And it should be, you know, capitalism is, okay, I can mow a lawn, so maybe then my neighbor will pay me 50 cents to mow the lawn. Now, and I accept it. So that's a negotiated thing that, okay, I will do that. That's me, that's the value of mowing the lawn. And if the government says you have to pay him $5 to mow your lawn, then no lawns would be mowed except by owners. So it's just, there has to be a demand commensurate with the product of the work effort. It's got to be commensurate with the product of the work effort that then passes through the next people that use the talent.
Probably at the deep layer, you will find very complicated mathematics there, because you're talking about how money is created, right?
Everything's negotiated.
How profit is generated, some stuff like that, right? To the simple fact, like your lawn example, though.
Very simple.
And that example is only based that your neighbor has 50 cents.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
If they don't have a job, you can't afford.
Suppose if your neighbor has to mow another neighbor's lawn, to pay you in mowing his lawn, though,
right,
he has to have more than 50 cents.
Well, and I'm very blessed because I've worked hard for a long time. I have a pool guy that keeps the swimming pool clean, and I have a gardener that does the gardening. If I couldn't afford that, I probably wouldn't have a swimming pool, but I would have to clean it myself, and I have to do the gardening myself. So it's a luxury to have people serving you. Okay, it's a luxury. It's not an entitlement. And these people, they get, you know, in an area, for example, then okay, a monthly pool service will be about $100, and then maybe it goes up $5 every 2 or 3 years.
And if somebody jumps in and say, "Hey, pool service should be 500,"
Well,
right? What do you say?
I won't pay it.
Well, yeah.
I'll learn to do it. It's not.
Yeah, learn to do it myself. I don't even hire you, right?
Right.
And then
I won't hire you. That's right.
Then the guy's out of business.
Yeah, that's right.
So
because my fellow,
suppose if the legislature make laws say for pool service the minimum should be 500 per month,
right?
And then you quit hiring him.
You do, yeah.
And he loses the job.
Right.
When he loses the job, he doesn't go to restaurant.
That's right.
When people do not go to restaurant, though, the restaurant closes.
That's right.
When restaurant closes, the restaurant owner's out of business.
And then real estate sitting there
the real estate, everything goes on in the transaction. I would say the lawmaking party, the legislators, the group, is kind of out of their mind.
They're interfering with the natural capitalistic negotiating of the value of services.
A bunch of unsophisticated guys, I would say.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're not thinking about the best interest of each.
Yeah, of course.
That's good comment.
Okay, my dear friends, my lovely audiences, this is for the hourly pay thing. When we come back, let's take a short moment. When we come back, we will have to talk about the job offering. I mean, government job offering for everybody who doesn't have a job, with a $15 of a guarantee. Which sounds almost a joke to me. Let's talk about it. Maybe if they want to joke, let's joke around. Right? Anyway.
Let's joke around, yeah. Sure. No, I've got some information.
Okay, we'll be right back, my dear friends. Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Ladies and gentlemen, girls, boys, whoever. Mm-hmm. And if you care about America, if you care about your own life, you must care about this show, because we take information from all aspects to provide to you for the purpose of imbuing your life with a positivity.
Exactly.
And living in this material world, though, you have to stand on ground. You have to keep your feet on the ground while talking. Otherwise, if somebody lifts it, you get killed.
That's right.
If somebody lifts you up, you get killed.
You get dropped.
Talking about ground, though, people used to think in a kind of like a funny way. What's so funny happening now is that they're talking about to offer government jobs to unemployed people, to make sure unemployment rate comes down to zero, with a $15 per hour as the minimum pay. I really want to hear how you think about it.
It is a fantasy, okay? And the good news, Jack, is today it was announced our unemployment rate is 3.9%, which is essentially almost no unemployment, because there's always about 2% of people that don't want to work. So Bernie Sanders, who is a very avowed socialist, is proposing that the government provide a job to everybody with the pay $15 an hour plus benefits. Now, there's not enough work to do to be productive. We don't need a bigger government by adding to the government another, X number of million employees that have nothing to do. The government already is the most inefficient organization on planet Earth.
Plus, our unemployment rate has already down to 3.9.
Right, it's beautiful.
That's the record breaking of the past 40 years or something?
Yes.
Which is beautiful,
yeah.
Right? Okay, now, you want to do it to bring it to 0%, okay, try. However, we have a big government than we can bear, right, that we can support. right?
We can't
Now,
support it.
Bring it even any bigger, make it any bigger, doesn't even work.
It'll just get worse and
It
worse.
works the opposite way.
There's always 2% of people that don't want to work. Now, I don't know whether Bernie thinks, like, we've got like so many homeless people in America now for a lot of reasons. Drugs, lazy, problems. There's hundreds of reasons. But what would you do? Give every homeless person $15 an hour to do nothing? They'd have to take a shower.
To do what?
Well, there's nothing to do because
do
there's
what?
no work to do. But if you go to work, you need to take a shower. You need to have clothes on, that are washed once in a while, and you need to have something to do. Otherwise, it's just giving money, and that just makes no sense in a capitalistic society. Now, Zuckerberg from Facebook, he kind of likes the idea of a universal minimum wage around the world. Well, he's got billions and billions. I don't see him contributing to it.
Talking is only one thing.
Yeah.
Talking, you can talk anything.
Yeah.
Well, under this beautiful flag of democracy, we have Constitution, which allows you the freedom of expression.
And it allows you the
You
freedom
can
to
freely express yourself.
Right.
Right? You can say anything. Things make sense, things do not make sense, or things, well, I don't know.
that are nasty. Yeah.
Or nasty or trash.
Right.
You reserve your own right to do that.
Right.
However, you have to make sense. For example, even in socialist countries, they are not offering everybody government job. They
Correct.
take only qualified person.
Correct, yeah.
For example, China.
Okay.
China government does offer jobs to civilians.
Okay.
However, you have to pass certain tests, or maybe after test.
You need skill.
Skills to
Yeah.
get into the government for service.
You need skills.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not saying a landslide. Say, hey, come on in.
No.
Here is a job for you.
There's no
that
free
pays
lunch.
$15 per hour.
Right.
That sounds like a free lunch.
Right. And there's no work to do.
You know what I heard this morning over the radio? Was on in?
I'm ready to hear.
And says, well, and the guy was very funny. He says, well, we should probably think it from a evolution point of view.
Okay.
As time goes along, well, sometimes an elephant can fly. Well, we got to wait until the day. We got to wait until the day an elephant flies.
Yeah.
Flies a tank
Yeah.
in the air.
Right.
With that will happen. Only by then can it happen.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, we're talking trash.
All we have to do is look at Venezuela, the most dramatic example of the failure of socialism. And you can't just give jobs. They must be earned. I have pride that I've never received a penny I haven't earned. I have pride that I work hard. Now, you said earlier, most people want to work less and get more money. I always wanted to work more because I thought I had a service that was valuable to my clients, and I was contributing then to an economy. If I'm just playing golf or tennis, I'm really not, other than buying the tennis balls or golf balls, not contributing too much.
By nature, you're talking about...
I want to work hard.
Yeah, by
and
nature,
long.
you're talking about the animal side of a human being.
Yeah,
Yet,
okay.
as a human being, we now live in a society. We call a society. Society means everybody has a burden to bear. The burden being...
opportunity, yeah.
The burden being that you have to help with others. But the thing is that with that burden, though, you don't want to get the government overburdened.
Well, the greatest way to contribute to minimizing burdens in society is to, number one, take care of yourself, so you're not part of the burden. And people are failing to do that.
In the meantime, you want to make sure the public does not have that much burden to carry.
And we're already overly
all of a sudden you
stressed.
bring that many jobs to government, and who will pay? The voters.
Nobody. There's no
Taxpayer.
money.
No, taxpayers have to pay.
But there's 50% of our people don't pay any taxes anyway. Under the new tax law, and even before, up to $50,000, you're paying very little tax.
The payer part of taxpayers, how about that? Let's put it that way. The payer part of taxpayers have to pay that if someday, if the elephant did get fly.
Right. Yeah, right.
All right. So, and once again, the same thing like last segment we talked about, where does money come from?
You can't print it. It's
You
got to
can't print
come from investment. People that have money that are willing to risk that money for an investment that seems to be worthy of the risk. That's where the money comes from. And it comes from the development of skill sets by each individual person, not only through college, but through trade schools. I'm a great fan. I think so much of college education money right now is pretty well wasted.
At the time when everybody calls for a smaller government, though, I really get surprised there could be a prevailing call, such a prevailing call that brings an extra burden to the government.
It's from people that don't believe in capitalism, don't believe in taking care of yourself, believe the government is smarter than you in governing your life.
To give it
it's
one
very
word,
sad. It's
to
tragic.
give it it is not fair to give it a one-word definition. Socialism whatsoever.
Right.
We're talking
It's not
about in
specifically
some areas,
socialism,
in
yeah.
some areas, certain areas.
Right.
For example, offer everybody a medical care.
Right.
A health care.
Who's going to pay for it?
Okay. And then always it comes at the end of the day where the money comes from.
Right. Well,
Right?
look at
That is the
Obamacare.
thing.
Same thing. Total failure.
Whoever I don't care.
Yeah.
And then we are still paying either out of your money or out of your retirement money, still your money anyway.
Or you're not getting the services you need.
Or you die.
Right.
You die willingly.
Right.
Right? So it will give you freedom to die? Okay, anyway.
In Oregon, they do.
one of the freedom,
you can
right?
get assisted suicide in Oregon. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, things are getting crazier and crazier and crazier, my dear audiences.
So
sad.
sad.
These days, we got to give lots of extra saliva to talk about it.
Yeah, you're right. Or your mouth dries up.
My mouth comes dry.
You're right.
Quite often because lots of saliva wasted in talking about those out of
Boy, that's true.
out of ordinary issues, and anyway, somebody wants to boss around the society. I don't think we want to be governed by that kind of even concept.
Right.
Good. Today in the weekly update, we touch base with you, 2 international issues, 2 domestic issues. We want to make sure that we want to cover everything, all aspects, with the information for you to work for the betterment of your life. And if you have any opinion, anything you want to say, just tell me. Send it to email, tellmydj@gmail.com, that I will see it. All right? So thank you, my dear audiences. And to Cam, thank
Jack,
you very much.
Love you, love your viewers.
Love you
Thank
too.
you.